Hi everybody, my name is Rashmi Kulkarni. I'm with Elastic for the last 4 years. So I'm going to take you over a small journey of what's new in Kibana 781. The current release, what we are working on in-house is 790, which will be released shortly. But the publicly available release is 781. It's the patch of 780. So I'll take you over like how to create a cluster in just a few clicks on cloud, and what are the various ways you can do that, and also how to ingest data and how to play around and what's new in Kibana 781. Let's get started. So Kibana is your window to the Elastic stack. So bear with me. I'm in presentation mode, I think. I need to go to the next slide. Okay, so my next slide talks about the entire stack, and this is the core of the Elastic stack, which is Kibana is your window to what happens inside of Elasticsearch. Beats and Logstash is your ingesting mechanism, although there are many other modules too where you can ingest data, and these are whether you can use it as a Elastic Enterprise Search for your web activities or your Elastic Observability, depending on your use case for your logs, security, SIEM, data metrics for your observability use case, or for your security use case. You can use the stack for whatever use case your use case demands. So there are ways to deploy this on cloud or on Kubernetes pods or on a self-managed stack. For the benefit of time, I thought I would take you all from deploying it on a cloud. So yeah, unlimited possibilities. This is one more slide. So let's get started on deploying our cluster on Elastic Cloud. So just a few notes which I had here. You can choose this Elastic service and deploy it in minimum clicks. You can choose any of the cloud providers like Microsoft Azure or AWS or GCP. I'm going to show you how, and it's a very intuitive GUI. It lets you increase your RAM or set your passwords or enable monitoring all through the GUI interface. And then with cloud, you have access to the latest version of the stack, which is released immediately. As soon as our artifacts are released on the product page, it's available even on the cloud page. And then if there are any security patches which are being patched, they are immediately patched to the cloud service as well. So that is one great advantage of using Elasticsearch service deployed on cloud. And then the upgrade, if you have a pre-existing cluster on cloud, upgrade from a minor to a major release or major to a major release is also very super easy. Then there are many deployment templates which are readily available for you to choose, whether it is IO optimized or memory intensive or whatever be the use case. So you can use your deployment templates which are prepackaged, and then yeah, with cloud it is always highly available. And with the cloud, it is the whole entire stack is secured, and many more advantages like these. So let me take you right by creating this cloud. So what you can see is I have logged in into cloud.elastic.co, and then I'm going into deployments. So let me create a deployment here. So as I said, you can give a name to your deployment and select any of the cloud platform which is available. I am in California, so I'm just for the ease of this, I'm just going to use GCP, Europe West, and then here is what you get: different available versions, which are old, which are new, which are. So this is the 781. The 790 is what we are working on. It's not yet publicly released, but the 781 is. So I'm going to deploy 781 cluster, and these were the templates which I was talking about. This is the recommended IO optimized template. And sorry, I'm not monitoring the chat, uh, but I'll just get to it. IOM optimized, compute optimized, memory optimized, hot warm architecture based on your use case here. If you are memory intensive, you can use this prepackaged template here. So for this purpose, I'm going to use a IO optimized recommended template to create. I can just create deployment, and with the default specs and everything, it will create it. But then I want to customize my deployment a little more further. So I want to enable machine learning just to do some anomaly detection on my cluster. So just enabled it. And then for some more fault tolerance, I want to give more memory RAM for my Kibana instance. Let me give a 4 gig RAM, and now I am creating my deployment. So while this is being created, it's just took around 2 or 3 clicks for me to get this demo up and running. So here, what you see is the password which is populated here, and behind the scenes is what it's spinning up the cluster. So in just a few minutes, my deployment will be ready.
So while that's running, when you create a new deployment, you notice the default was the latest released version 7.8.1. The only reason I could think of that anybody would ever want to use something other than the latest version is if they were making multiple clusters that were compatible to some that they already had, and they had to keep that, they want to keep that version and upgrade them all at the same time, perhaps. Other than that, I can't think of any reason. There's always new, better features in every last release. So generally, take the latest you can.
Yeah.
We try to advise people to upgrade whenever they possibly can to get more new features.
The advantage of cloud deployment is the security comes embedded, and that's a very big thing. We like to keep our data secure, and security plays a very important role. So while it's coming up, this thing, I want to take you over these things. So you can look at the Elasticsearch logs while this is happening in a different window, or then the security aspects of, like, once the Elasticsearch creates Elastic is a super user who has rights to all the indices inside the cluster. You can change the password by going to the security here. And also it has the API console, whether you can delete by giving the actual delete command via the API. So this is getting created. So while this is getting created, yeah, all right, it's already there. So now it gives you an option of opening Kibana with this password here. So I'll just click on this. Copying. This is my login screen here, and I want to log in. So this is your the first screen which you are welcomed with. Currently, there is no data in my Elastic Stack. So with this screen, you can actually add sample data, or there are many ways of adding your own data via CSV or ingesting via Beats, Logstash, or machine learning also has an option of ingesting it via CSV. It takes up to 1 gig files, and but for simple use cases and to see the robustness of the machine of the stack, I'm just going to use the sample data, which is pre-packaged with a lot of visualizations, with a lot of dashboards, and huge time series data. You can explore rich data by this. So let me try the sample data, which is pre-packaged. As I come here, I'm in the home page, I'm in the add data screen, and here we are presented with 3 different sample data. For example, this is the e-commerce time series data, this is the flight data, and this is the weblogs data. Let me go ahead and add these. So while it comes with prepackaged visualizations, dashboards, and all that. So while this is being added, I also want to talk about the D, what you see here. The D, what you see here, is the space in which we are in. Right now, currently, I'm in a default space. So if your organization has like engineering space or a HR space or payroll space, you can create different kinds of spaces and give access to only those apps which they are interested in. So I'm going to take you over that as well. Right now, I have added the data and all the sample data has been installed. So let's see, we want to see this actual data which has been installed. Let's see the, let me not go here. Let me go to the left nav. So the left nav of this Kibana instance, and just do you see this dock navigation here? I'm going to undock it so that this stays on the left hand side. So this has been logically grouped together in 781. So all of the main Kibana apps are here, and they are grouped according to their own use case. Like the observability, logs, APM, metrics, uptime are all under uptime, are all under the observability. So security deals with CM, and it's here grouped together. So as such, the management, the advanced settings and monitoring and the dev tools, they're all here. But these are all the default ones which we see. So now what I can also undock this to give me more real estate here. So now what I want to do is I want to introduce one more feature which was introduced in 7.7, just to touch upon that a little bit. I'm creating another space here. This is your default space which I'm in, currently logged in as Elastic super user. I'm creating another space called as Kibana webinar. And then why I'm creating this is, maybe like if you have your engineering or HR, you can just give access to whichever apps you want to. So in this Kibana webinar, I'm going to do only few things here. I'm going to turn off CM, uptime, APM, logs, metrics. Let me keep all these things. And then I'm creating a space. So my Kibana webinar space is available with 11 out of 17 features available to my Elastic super user. How I can change is I can just click on this Kibana webinar space, and again I'm given this welcome data screen because this is a brand new. I have not ingested any data here. So let's try sample data here again, and then add my sample data to this. So yeah, so once these are installed, these come with prepackaged visualizations and dashboards. So let's go and see the dashboard here. So I'm using e-commerce revenue dashboard for the last 7 days is my time picker. It's my time series database, time series data. And this is the sample e-commerce data which I have ingested. It has created an index pattern, and it is showing me rich dashboards, which I can derive many significant data points about. What kinds of, what is the average male to female data ratio, what are the transactions per day, how many orders is the minimum value of the order, so on and so forth. So the main thing what I want to take on in this dashboard is, okay, it's the same. One second. This is my another cluster, which is the same thing. So I had done some rich visualizations here, so I'm just showing you the same. Okay, so this is the e-commerce revenue dashboard, which is being shown for the last 7 days. So in 7.9, which is the upcoming release, or the 7.8.1, which is the current GA, which is released, there is something called as drill downs, and that could be achieved. Drill down of the dashboards, you can actually drill down to the real actual data inside, present inside. These are just not charts, these are rich data points, which you see here. So let me just edit the one of the visualization. I have created this my drill down, drill down as a drill down to this. I want to get to the data part of this visualization, so I have created my drill down. So once I do this, so what is there inside this is, so I'm using the global flights dashboard. It is using all it carries, unless you save this drill down, the filters are not getting created. So you have to, use the filters, the filters and the queries get created, get carried over from one dashboard to the other. So that's the advantage here. So this is what I wanted to touch upon. So the granularity of the data is seen in these drill downs. So that is one part, and save it. So now you can actually, actually there are different features what you can do. You can actually get the rich data PDF and the PNG reports out of these dashboards. So I'm just, since I gave it a 4 gig RAM, I'm going to print out this sample e-commerce data, CSV and PNG records. So both, for example, so that you can share it with the management for the last 7 days or for whatever time span you want it to. So it's being queued, and now where it is being queued, I can show you that. If you go to stack management and if you go to reporting, these are the two reports which I printed out of my revenue dashboard. They are waiting for the job to be processed behind. So once the reporting is complete, it says either you can download it or use our alerts or watcher feature to email it to the higher ups or whoever is interested in looking at those reports. Just want to see what all I wanted to cover. Yeah. So this is what I covered. It's a window to the Elastic Stack. In 7.8.1, simple organizations like simple organization of the side nav, like logically they have organized it, logs, metrics, APM, uptime. They are all grouped together, and then easier to access the current project inside Kibana with more recently viewed. Yeah. So here, if you see recently viewed, these are the breadcrumbs which you will which get accumulated over time, and then you can easily you can navigate to them one by one based on their URL. So, and then we want to show this, we want to project more about the dashboard and the drill downs and the rich data which is behind the scenes of this particular dashboard. So that's why the more drill downs are introduced, more connections between these panels are introduced, and more, you can add a filter, you can actually do a lot more things with this kind of dashboard and use this rich data to analyze or to create your own set of analysis and do something about this data. So that being said, and then many different visualizations have been improved. And then I wanted to show you the other feature where in let me go back to the default space, and I'm going back to machine learning. Machine learning. So what we improvised in 781 is the data visualizer tab. What you see, it can import data and create index patterns and within a few clicks. So what I'm doing is I am inserting some data. It takes a JSON format, it takes CSV format, up to whatever. If you have a valid format, you can do it. So what I have is, for currently, is all day CSV record of the earthquakes which has happened in sorry for the kind of data which I am importing, but then this is the kind of huge amount of data what the earthquake, more than 4.5 or 5 Richter scale data, which I'm ingesting inside of Elasticsearch. So as soon as I import it, these are all, it has already analyzed what kind of a document these are, and then now I'm going to import it, give it a name, and then it's going to create an index pattern. So it's as simple as this. It is ingesting the data inside of Elasticsearch. Now you can view the index and discover, or you can create a machine learning job and see the anomalies, and you can actually open it in data visualizer, and then anything you can do with this kind of a data. So let's go ahead and view this data in Discover. It has already created this kind of an index pattern, and the earthquake data is already seen here with the timestamp also mentioned. So this is a histogram which is seen, and then here is the rich data presentation, metadata presentation. Whatever is seen here, it is broken down. So if I want to create my own set of if I want to create my own set of tables, say for example, it gave me this table which I don't want to. I want to see my own set of data. So what I will do is I am going to add few fields: magnitude, error, in which longitude it occurred, in which latitude it occurred, and I am going to create my own data table, rich data table, and the time it occurred. So between August 5th and between yesterday to today, these 3.55 magnitude, longitude, latitude, place, and this one. This is the rich data which it gives me, and this is what has been ingested inside of Elasticsearch. So easy ingestion of data using machine learning. And yeah, in this screen, what I wanted to show you is that was how I logged in as Elastic and how I ingested data using various techniques. You can use metric beat, you can use Ingest Manager, or you can use many other things. So the first what I logged in was as Elastic super user. Now with you can have more customizations to cloud, and you can either log in with Elasticsearch or single sign-on with SAML or OIDC and various different login methods. So then this is one just 3 clicks in 3 minutes. That's how I created. And yeah, this is what I wanted to show, although there are many more things I can do with this data here. I wanted to touch upon drill downs. I wanted to touch upon the spaces. I wanted to touch upon feature controls and anything, all these things. Any questions which I'm not answering? I'm sorry, I didn't take this. If you like, yeah, and the drops of the drill down, yeah. Even All right. So if I'm available for questions and answers, let me hand over this to Eric, and he can talk about Ingest Manager, which is coming up.
Well, hello. Thank you for the shout out, Rashmi. Does anybody have any questions on the prior features and feature set we had talked about before I dive in? Rashmi, you did great. I think you had the harder part, giving the full demo of how to get up and running with Elastic. I hope everyone was excited to see how quick it was. I'm blown away by it. It's really helpful for our testing too. The cloud is a great resource for us internally as well.
Yeah.
So I can share my screen, and I'm going to do so now. I'm going to share the whole thing. I'm just going to go for it. And I'll tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Eric Davis, and I've been with Elastic almost a year. And what is that on the left? And so I've been with us. I came from an acquisition that was done from a company called Endgame, and Rashmi and Lee were both really helpful when I first joined, and I appreciate it. So shout out to them for being wonderful coworkers. I am a father of 3, a musician, an avid foosball player, and I'm thrilled to be at Elastic. So I have that going on, and I would love to tell you about the project that I have been working on most recently. It's called Ingest Manager, and when I started my presentation mode here, I was on the wrong screen. So where is the back button? Does anybody know?
Yes, if you go,
I'll scroll. Got it.
You should be able to.
Okay,
there you go.
I'm unused to Google Slides, but I'll get there. Pardon my naivety with this. So here we are on the screen that I had intended on starting on. I was fortunate enough to land on a wonderful team that's been working on a feature set long before I got there. So there are a lot of really knowledgeable associates that I've been working with. The product we're calling internally Ingest Manager. Is it something you can play with now? It is. Is it GA? No. So there will be probably breaking changes between now and when it's finished up, several releases from now. It's alpha. We think it's pretty good and it's usable. So we'd love to get your feedback. It's coming up in a beta. I won't give dates because that's not what we do. But you might say, well, what is Ingest Manager? Why do I care? Did I go to the right slide? Okay. I found out how to use the computer now. Thank you. Thank you. I'll get better. So what is Ingest Manager? I would say that it's 2 things, 2 pieces of software actually. It's a UI that we've built into Kibana, and it's a new agent, the Elastic agent that we've created. And the agent, I'll say, is the tagline I like is it's the one agent to rule them all. You saw Rashmi gave a pretty good demo about how to get data into Elasticsearch. I don't know if anyone is really quite familiar with all the beats we have and the modules that are supported. And so you've got a lot of little tiny data shippers in the beats, shipping data into Elasticsearch, doing their jobs very specifically. And we have found feedback that if you have multiple beats on the same system, it can be a lot to manage. Multiple beats on the same host. And so we've got now one agent to rule them all. Basically, the Elastic agent works with the Ingest Manager in Kibana and helps you manage all of these individual beats. And so you can integrate into eventually all the same modules you can integrate with now, and you'll be able to manage them a lot easier, a lot faster with more insight. So here's a quick screenshot of what the Ingest Manager in Kibana looks like. And what are they ruling? I think I've answered my question. We're ruling all the modules that we have. Let me see. Oh, look, a fade in with my slide. You've got Ingest Manager, and we have all these integrations. This is the top left corner of the main overview page. The Elastic Beats modules become integrations in 7.8.1 and beyond. If you look at this screen, oh, I may have messed it up again. There we are. On the left, you can go to this link at our corporate website, and you'll see all the integrations that are part of the observability solution. And I'm hoping that we'll all agree this screen in Ingest Manager on the right should look kind of similar. We have a lot of the same integrations already, but it is a work in progress to redo some of the same work, translating the modules in a format that can be consumed by Ingest Manager. So we're basically trying to make it easier to do things you're already doing. We're trying to give you better insight while you're doing it. And the easy part is, how hard is it to get up and running with Ingest Manager and the new Elastic Agent? You know, I'm not going to say that I'm a wordsmith really, but I've got these 4 steps that I came up with when I was writing the slide, and it seems to me that it's just this easy. You download, unzip, enroll, and run, and then it's fun. So I've got a screenshot here of the steps in the Ingest Manager fleet project that say basically, you know, you call your Elastic Agent, you give it an enroll command, and this is generated for you, thankfully. You don't have to write all this out, but you copy it to your host, and then you can either install the Windows service or you can run it on Linux or Mac, and it's just that easy. Once you do that, you've got a fleet of agents, basically all calling into Kibana, and you can configure them with specific integrations. If you have a set of Linux servers that are doing work for you that you want to have configured one way and you want to have specific integrations on them, you can do that. If you have a Windows Exchange server, you might have different integrations on that. So you can set up different configurations and enroll them all to your liking and manage them all through the fleet. And so the last quadrant that was there is the data sets. This is a great example of something that's changing, as I noted. So don't get too in love with the nomenclature you see. All the same concepts will be there in their same form or in a better way. But data sets is one that is probably going to be changing and becoming something a little less duplicative with the words. It's sort of an overloaded concept. So the main point is that you've got data, and you've got data flowing into Elasticsearch, and one of the last quadrant I was going to mention in Ingest Manager is that it does a roll up of all the data that your different integrations are shipping for you. So it's kind of handy to say, oh, I've got a lot of data coming in from a particular module, and I've got only a little bit coming from one. You know, you can split up how your data is being ingested, and you can manage it a lot better when you know. So here is a list of customers. Rashmi put this slide up, and I offered to say just a little bit about it. We've got a fairly significant list here. I love looking at a chart of icons too. We can see Lyft and Sprint, ING, a lot of really great names, a lot of great customers that use us across industries and segments and geographies. So it's a fairly nice cut across of the world out there. If you want, I didn't check Slack chat, but I know that Rashmi and Lee will be holding down the fort on questions and answers. If anybody wants to call out, is there anything I should check in chat before I move on?
There's nothing in the chat yet. Folks, it really helps if you have questions to go ahead and drop them in the chat. I know sometimes this information can come fast and furious, a little bit like a fire hose, but definitely no question is too simple or too difficult. We will tackle it. So please feel free to ask questions here.
And I even had a slide about here. I can copy this in, I think. No, I don't know how to do it in present mode. But I had a slide that called out a glossary, the online glossary of Elastic's terms. So the fire hose is real. I've been with the company about a year, and I feel like I am learning every day, and I'm learning on this call. Rashmi, thank you for talking about namespaces a little bit. That's something that I had questions about. So there's always more to learn. There's always you know, your individuality to contribute. Everyone has their own experiences, and we're all contributing. I love being on the quality team because I like playing with the product, trying to break it. And I love writing automation and trying to prove that it's working. So I'm glad to be on the QA team. If you want, I could give you a demo. I was going to do it live. I was going to just take a chance and see if it worked. How does that sound?
Interesting.
I can tell everybody wants a demo. So this is an instance of Kibana on the cloud that we've spun up. It is actually the beta version coming, 7.9, because it's what I have running and is a little easier for me to demo from. So I've chosen it. I hope that's okay. Here I'll show you the overview tab that we talked about a little bit, and I can blow it up a little bit if folks want to see a little more. And I can make it full screen because there's no reason not to.
Isn't this like a spoiler before people see a movie? You're telling them how.
Yeah, I gave you the trailer before. I went through it like a whirlwind with basically these 4 quadrants, and now I can do the longer trailer, or we'll call it a short film. Here is the Ingest Manager app. The exciting part is perhaps seeing how quickly I can go from having nothing in my fleet and no configurations except for the default config that comes with very little in it. How quickly I can go from that to having an agent up and running. So I am going to switch over to my downloads folder. The first step, does anyone remember if it was install, download, run, something like that? Call me out if you don't remember it. I've got a zip file here that I downloaded, and I will unzip it, or a tar.gz, I'm sorry. And here is our Darwin cited Elastic agent. I think it's pretty. Let's go over to our terminal, and I will switch into I'll make it a little bigger, just so folks can see what we have here. It's a little more readable, I think. CD into downloads, and I can CD into elastic-agent-7.9, D for Darwin, and then let's give it a shot. If I do an LSLT, we can see the date here. This is the date of the build. I think this is what I want. I'm pretty excited. So back in Ingest Manager in Kibana. Oh, I'm in present mode. I'm not sure what I've done. Give me 1 second to figure out how to switch over to... I actually don't know how to get out of the... how to switch into the... Oh, yeah, we'll do this. This is another window I've got. I'll find my way back to where I was. Here in Ingest Manager, it's just as easy as saying, I'd like to add an agent. So here you are, and we have 2 different modes we support. If someone did want to use the Elastic agent, it's a very powerful tool. You don't have to integrate it with Fleet and with Kibana, but we recommend it. But it is available to be used in a standalone mode. I won't go into that. The standalone mode requires that you do more configuration on your own, and we've worked very hard for it to be easy for you. So here is the command to run it, to enroll it on Mac or Linux right now. So I copy that command, and the hard part is I'm going to have to find my way back to that Kibana view. But here it is. The Elastic agent is in this folder, so I copy the command in. Do you want to run this? I do. And it takes just a moment for it to connect up to Kibana, and it says the Elastic agent is successfully installed. This makes me very happy. So now I can run it. I think that was step 3 out of 4, or was it step 4? What was the 4th step? Fun. If we go to the view I was in by the time I get there, now we have completed those steps, and my agent is here. How exciting. What this does, to recap, is it's basically set up the one ring to rule them all. This is the Elastic agent. It's capable of controlling metric beat and file beat and various other integrations that I can show you now. Here's the integrations page. We're very proud to say that, you know, in a short time span of a few months, we will have gone from, you know, 8 or 9 integrations in 7.8 that you can play with to a list that's significantly longer and has some of the major software that you'll run into in your jobs in the tech world. And we can integrate with those to help ship data into Elasticsearch. To complete the demo, I will go ahead and create a new config used for demoing. And I do want to collect system metrics because that is the way to go. Why not collect all the data you can? With the elastic pricing model, I think it's a fair way to go. You can get a lot of value out of things. So we've got an agent here, and we got a config. What's in the config? Not a whole lot yet, just the system metrics we talked about. But we could add something. There's a menu over here that says, you know, edit integration. We can edit the system integration. We can also add an integration to the current config. What would we like to do? We've got settings here. So it gives you a little bit of information about it. And if we want now, let's add an integration. What shall we add in? This is just a small little preview of something else coming in 7.9. If you have not heard, you can check our corporate website. We'll have a lot of marketing information. I'm hoping about the new Elastic endpoint security product coming out, but we will integrate with that now. Only takes a matter of moments, but you do have to remember to give it a name. Well, we save the integration, which is part of a configuration. And I'll say again that some of this terminology may be changing because we don't want folks to have to learn any more new words or terms for the same concepts that are already out there within the industry. So for now, this is the way it is, but it may or may not change. So we've got a configuration. I showed you how to add a new integration to it. I showed you the list of integrations. To push this configuration to my agent, onto my host, it's not too hard. We can say, Eric Davis MacBook Pro, let's assign a new agent config. Right now it's on the default config. And I guess I could have shown you this, but it's already running the agent. It's showing you file beat and metric beat are happy and shipping data in. If we go to the datasets tab, I showed you this before. This is a live aggregation of all the data coming in from the different datasets. And we have, oh, wife and dog are here, that's okay. We have data coming in, and we've got different metric sets that you can query. This will all show up in the same visualizations that Rashmi had shown. So we'll go back a step, and I'll show you what it is to create to assign a new configuration. It's just as easy as this. Assign the configuration, and this is basically what you'll do on sets of hosts. So if you have a set of hosts that are running your Windows Exchange server, if you have a set of hosts that are your employees' laptops, all of their Mac and Windows machines, you can set them up one way and you can assign different configs. And once you have it set up, the configuration is done, and switching out and adding new beats and changing the configuration of the beats modules is all done through the UI here. You can imagine that if you want to integrate with AWS, you'll have a lot more parameters you have to put in. Some will have 0 parameters that just work. Things like AWS, if you want to integrate in, you'll certainly have to put in your credentials, passwords, and AWS buckets and such. But we've made it as painless as possible. And we've got here a live demo. I'm not even kidding. I think this is something that we've already fixed, but I'm super excited that you can prove that it's real. It's not canned. I'm a real human, and the demo god said that you will see an error. So I accept this. And I'm very glad to show it to you. That's actually the end of the demo too, is that we showed you the overview, the integrations, the configurations, the data sets, and the fleet, the Elastic agent that rules them all. that was the end of my slides and the end of my brief demo and tour through the Ingest Manager. I'm very glad to have spent some time with you. I'm glad to check chat too to see if anybody has any specific questions or comments. Live demo. I love it. So I'm very glad to have been here, and I'll pass it back to you, Rashmi, Lee, and Phoebe. Thank you.
Oh, wow. That was a great demo, and that's a huge set of integrations right there. I hadn't seen it.
We do have a question, Eric. Brent is asking, is this all done without Logstash, it seems? Is that correct?
That is correct. The current integration set, Ingest Manager, works only with shipping data to Elasticsearch. It is, of course, something that we're thinking about how to make it work with Logstash. That's something that is for a future discussion. I can't comment. I don't know if and when it'll be done, but it's certainly something we're evaluating. And Fleet is only for cloud cluster. Heck no. Fleet is available everywhere you can get Elastic. It's part of the stack, so you can deploy it self-managed. You can deploy it with ECE. You can deploy it with ESS, Elastic Cloud. Yes, it's available everywhere your stack is. Any other questions? Keep them coming. I'll scroll back through chat. Does anybody? I think Lee asked a question earlier. What versions folks were on with Elasticsearch? I'm happy to hang out for a little bit and talk. If anybody has questions, we're here. I think it'd be great to get some feedback, to hear any other questions. But
yeah, it looks like we have a question. Sachin actually is our organizer for the Houston meetup. Hi, Sachin. Thanks for joining us. He has a question about using Ingest Manager. Can you control the number of files that you can import for particular beats?
I would like to ask Sachin, hi, how are you? If I could have you help me reword that a little bit. When you say control the number of files.
Oh, field.
He fields. Said. Okay, yeah, the number of fields. You can, it depends on the module. The module, I showed you a brief, if you didn't see it, I can send a link here in chat before I sign out. But one of my slides was having the modules on the left and the integrations in Ingest Manager on the right. And all of this access to the data is actually probably the same as it was before. I don't think we've made many modifications for the modules that we've ported over into integrations. So if you have a module that controls something like your AWS or your RabbitMQ data flow, all the same controls should be there. And go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, is that, well, before we move on to the next question, was there more on that?
Well, yeah, I guess I think that's what I would have to say. I can't speak to every module and every integration, but we try to give an appropriate amount of control over to the fields that are shipped into Elastic. It'll still be based on the same data sets that we had before, except where we're making improvements to work with the Elastic Common Schema, which we're always doing over time.
Eric, there seems to be a question from Brent
Sure.
A little up above the chat. Can you?
Yeah, I'm scrolling through now. Let's take
yeah,
a look.
So Jeff had a question about the agent.
Sure.
Let's see. Firewall friendly. It's an outbound connection from the agent toward the Elastic stack. So the agent registers upward, and then it can be remotely ordered to start shipping file beats or whatever else available to that agent.
Yes, the agent speaks with Kibana, actually, interestingly enough. And the beats modules, the little tiny shippers, all speak to Elasticsearch to put the data in. And the Kibana that you have, let's say you were to set it up with your cloud instance, as I did here, your Kibana has a two-way communication with the agent.
Okay, so the Sachin had kind of a little bit of a follow-up, because currently when you start metric beat, it loads 2,000 plus fields on index, but if there's control, good news. Thanks, he says.
I'm not sure that we have fixed that specific concern, I'll be honest. If you have metric beat and a specific set of modules shipping data, I think the same fields will be there if you use metric beat with Ingest Manager.
Okay.
It does depend on what you have configured in Ingest, in which we give control over the data that you're shipping in, of course, but it's certainly still, there's some data bloat where you have more fields than you might need. It's a good conversation to raise in a discuss forum. I don't know that I could speak to it as eloquently as I'd like to, but we'd love to have the feedback and the questions for sure.
Maybe we can have a alert, watcher alert on the number of fields, and once it crosses that mark, raise an alert or something.
The stack is very powerful. I love that you're calling out other features we have. This is great. Let me scroll through chat to see what else we have so we don't ignore any questions.
Yeah. Adam has a question about, can we run Kibana 7.8 against 7.3 ES cluster?
No. Nope. Elasticsearch has to be at least the version of Kibana. Elasticsearch can be newer than Kibana, but not the other way around. So if you're upgrading, you always have to upgrade your Elasticsearch cluster first, and then your Beats, Logstash, Kibana.
It looks like Paul has a question. What does the licensing model for agents look like?
Yes, I was actually stalling a little bit. I was thinking in my head, what is the licensing model? We know that you can do a free trial. So you can sign up on cloud today, and you see it took a matter of minutes to get up and running, and you can have the Elastic Agent running in a matter of minutes after that. The 7.9 snapshots, I think, are available, open to the public. So the very latest ones should be fairly stable. We hope they're stable every day, but of course bugs get in. Speaking to the long-term license, I have to think. I don't know if the team has decided yet. Yeah, that's a question that I would love to defer to a discuss forum or the product team.
Well, yeah, we actually have someone who's somewhat knowledgeable on the call with us today, John Bickford, and he says he doesn't believe that we charge for agents, but he's not quite sure if he knows what this person means by agents. And John, feel free to jump in.
Sure. If you're talking about the remote agents, the answer is no, there's no charge for those. I'm not aware of any of that. Something could always change, but today that's not the case. So if you buy, if you subscribe, whether cloud or, self-managed, if you subscribe to gold nodes, platinum nodes, or in the enterprise case, ERUs, those are all included. There is no extra charge for those. Does that help? Does that answer the question? So the licensing model looks like a blank page.
Yes, Paul says yes. Cool.
See that? Okay, got it. All right, happy to help.
I think we lost one more question by Brent up above.
Oh, let's see here.
See one from Jeremy that says, how much configuration of FileBeat can you do through this? Specifically, we push out a lot of stuff to ConfD for FileBeat. How much configuration of FileBeat? I could show you. It's not as granular as you might like, but I think the ability to get what you want should be there. It's going to be, I think, the same control you have over FileBeat today. So hopefully you're happy enough with that. But as we've discussed a little bit, there can be sometimes 2,000 fields you're adding in and you might not have needed all of them. Were there any other questions? Phoebe, did you say there was one?
I didn't see one that we've missed.
The one about your message, Phoebe.
About which?
I don't know what he meant by, is this all done without Logstash, it seems. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I think we did get that one. Yeah.
It does not integrate with Logstash yet.
Yeah. And I have to apologize. I threw in some resource links into the chat a little precipitously. Just ignore the thank you all so much for coming, since we're not ending right this second. So sometimes I have a little bit of a trigger figure on the old chat here, but I did want to just highlight those resources for you. So if you do find that you have more questions, we do have a community Slack workspace that we encourage all our Elastic fans out there to come and join. You can ask questions. And then we also have a forum where you can ask more deeply technical questions and have some of our engineers and developer advocates weigh in if you're having a particular issue. There's a getting started guide. Many of our trainings have become free, so I definitely recommend it if you're interested in getting training to check out our training link. And all of our meetups are recorded and pushed up to YouTube. So you can definitely catch meetups that might be happening in areas that are not a great time zone for you by watching our YouTube channel for content. So all those links are a little bit further up in the chat if you want to check those out. And let's see, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Did anybody else have any questions? Okay, well, if there are no further questions, I would definitely recommend joining the community Slack. There are channels for all of our sort of solutions and products. So if you're interested in Kibana, there is a Kibana channel, and you guys can definitely add your questions in there. And we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. Thank you so much to Rashmi and Eric and Lee for joining in, and John for piping in with your 2 cents, and all our elasticians, Sachin, our organizer from Houston, who joined in. So yeah, thanks everybody for coming. We really appreciate you being a part of our Elastic community.
Thank you for giving us this opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks, Robert. I'm glad to hear you learned something. Sometimes it's a little hard with these Zoom webinars. The format's a little formal, so we can't be as casual as we would at an in-person meetup. So we really appreciate it when people ask questions and pop their comments in the chat. So thank you for that. I hope everybody has a great night, and we'll see you at our next meetup. Be sure to join our AmAir virtual user group, where you can get all the latest on what's upcoming in events for Elastic. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.